Hi, it's Maggie, the Irish. It's like Medusa here today. It's Maggie, the Irish Gypsy, here to bring you your April 2018 general videos. Excuse my little hair snafu there. Those of you who have lovely curly hair out there can probably relate. Okay, enough about my hair. Welcome to my channel, and thank you for following my YouTube channel, for all your support, feedback, and comments, and for those of you who subscribe and follow, and welcome to any newcomers who are out there. And thank you always to all my clients, regular and new clients, for keeping me so joyfully occupied with personal one-on-one readings. And if any of you out there are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me and you haven't read with me before, or you've forgotten the information, you can get more details and contact info by going to my YouTube channel, clicking on the About button. You can also find that information attached to the description bar of all the videos I post. I do a wide variety of readings in all areas of life, love and romance, of course, career, work, and finance, channeled messages. I also do specific spreads for relationship compatibility, for reconciliation opportunities, and 6 and 12-month overviews to take a look at what's coming in your life for the next 6 or 12 months, depending on how far ahead you want to look. So feel free to email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. Current turnaround time for personal readings, live or recorded, is almost always within a 2-week period of time. And I actually have a little bit more downtime now because I'm recovering from foot surgery. That's why my background's a little different. So I might be able to fit some of you in a little sooner than 2 weeks, but almost always within a 2-week period of time. Yes, my background has changed. I'm not traveling as I often am when my background is different, but I had foot surgery a couple of weeks ago, and I have to keep my leg elevated, which is impossible to do at my desk. It doesn't really affect my work any except how I sit. But I have to do this, so I have to do readings from my couch or my bed or something like that for the next couple of weeks. For those of you who are not interested in the more traditional intensive readings, you just want a quick answer to a simple quick question, you can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo. They have a video chat option, an audio option, and also a text option as well. So that's something in our technologically savvy world that you can reach out and connect with me on as well. All right, let's move into this. This reading is for the air sign of Gemini for April 2018. It's a general reading, and there's many of you watching, so for some of you this may resonate in one area of your life, for others another. The details and specifics of how things play out for general readings, because there's so many of you watching, are always going to vary, but the energy fundamentally remains the same always, which is why we advise you to check your rising and your moon sign videos. They can provide additional clarification or more predictive resonation for you. Okay, Gemini, let's see what's up for you for April 2018. We begin with the Three of Cups, followed by the Page of Wands. Nice. The King of Swords, there you are, followed by the Eight of Wands. The Chariot, followed by the Page of Pentacles. And Death, or Transformation, followed by Strength. Wraps up the month pretty powerfully. From the bottom of the deck, your overall energy and guidance is the Ten of Cups. All right, let me take a look here. Okay. So Gemini, it looks like overall, your overall energy for the month of April 2018, I'm recording these in the last week of March, your overall energy and focus is the Ten of Cups. So Cups is water energy in the tarot. This is energy of our emotions, feelings, relationships, all different kinds of relationships. It's an emotional energy because it's water energy. And tens represent the ends of cycles, something coming to an end or wrapping up or coming to a culmination, achievement point, so it transitions into something else. strong energy of home and family with the Ten of Cups, with that emotional energy. It's often called the happily ever after card or the happy home card. It represents kind of feeling like you're at a place where everything has kind of finally come together. There's a sense of culmination, achievement, everything being in its right place, or things wrapping up in a really beautiful way, particularly in connection with home and family. This can also represent marriage, childbirth, children, blessings, or something under that umbrella kind of coming to an achievement point. Sometimes this can show up for, you know, leaving home for the first time or starting over from a home foundation. Sometimes this card shows up when people are leaving home and going to school, or buying or selling their first home, or retiring, and so their life, certain chapter of their life has come to an end and a new part is beginning again. So there is this overall energy and feeling and focus for the month of April 2018, Gemini, that something within your home and family system is wrapping up or coming to a culmination, kind of a major goalpost. Something is ending and there's something new right ahead of you. So next we have the Three of Cups and the Page of Wands. So the Three of Cups is a celebratory energy. It's actually sometimes, I've heard this referred to as the party card, although of course it has a deeper spiritual significance than that. It does have a high social theme to it. It does give the energy of being out, enjoying yourself, having a good time with friends and family, people you really connect with. There's usually a kinship energy to this, kindred spirit, sisterhood, brotherhood, best friends, good friends. And really getting out, celebrating, having a good time. You may be celebrating something specific. This can also speak of the community around you as well. Now it's clarified and accompanied by the Page of Wands. Wands is fire energy, and in the tarot this is creative, manifesting energy. It's usually very action-oriented and fluid and dynamic. It can speak of creating something. It's always about building and creating, so it's very forward-looking, forward-moving, and action-oriented. And it can point to things like creative or artistic endeavors, things that we feel passionate about because it's fire energy, enthusiastic. Pages can represent young people or children. Some of you may be the ones moving out of home for the first time. Some of you may be, you know, testing out your wings for the first time. Some of you may be on the opposite end of that. Maybe your last child is leaving the nest, or your first child is leaving the nest. Some of you, this just may be starting out on a new venture, because pages always represent, if not an actual person or a young person, they can represent being at the introductory phase of something, like a student or apprentice would be. They're starting out on a new path. They still have a lot to learn, but they're eager and enthusiastic about it. Wands is fire energy. So the Page of Wands would represent, for a lot of you, maybe what you're celebrating or feeling really excited about. Either celebrating with friends or maybe doing something with friends, starting something new with friends. There's a new venture. The Page of Wands can manifest as kind of the slate being wiped clean, starting over or starting a new beginning. There's an exciting new path laid out in front of you, and you're very eager to build and create and manifest something new. So very exciting energy. It looks like whatever you're transitioning from, you're moving into something new like right away, and it's really exciting, and you have there's almost this kind of youthful, excited, puppyish, just starting out fresh energy. And it looks like you're not alone in celebrating that either. So next to that we have, and actually I'm just getting that some of you too, one of the things you're celebrating, because the Ten of Cups can represent childbirth or children, you may be some of you may be finding out that you're pregnant or having a child. Some of you may be having that child in the month of April. Some of you may be marrying somebody, because I am getting a child for a small portion of you. I am getting that there's a new child energy, whether that's through birth or adoption or you know, two families coming together like through marriage or something of that kind. You may be being excited about being a parent again or for the first time for some of you. So next we have the King of Swords and the Eight of Wands. So the King of Swords, for a lot of you, it's an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. My little music thing's falling over. So a lot of you, this is going to represent you just being in your element, exactly who you are on a pretty mature and grounded level, because we're at a king here. Kings and queens represent individuals who have mastered their suit. So they've matured beyond that young energy of the page, that spontaneous, impulsive energy of the knight. And kings and queens represent people who they've evolved, they're more mature, they're grounded in the character traits of their suit. Swords is air energy. So air energy is all about what goes on up in our heads, our words, our ideas, our thoughts, how we look at things, our belief systems, our perspectives, and how that affects the way that we see and relate and communicate with the world and people in the world. Mental, cerebral, intellectual energy. So the King of Swords as an actual individual would be somebody who has kind of grown up, matured, evolved, very clear thinker, truthful, insightful, willing almost to sacrifice his or her emotions on the altar of truth and reality, because they want to see things for exactly how they are. Swords is also about truth, illumination, higher education, and learning. They can sometimes come across as a bit emotionally reserved or aloof. They don't necessarily mean to be. They come from a place of thought before emotions, and they tend to not be emotionally spontaneous or impulsive people most of the time. I mean, we all have our days, right? So the King of Swords, so if it represents you, Gemini, which I believe it does for a lot of you, you're thinking clearly. This is around the second week or so of April. You have this exciting new beginning, and now you're thinking clearly, you're in your element, you're making wise, practical decisions. This is all about, being analytical, detail-oriented, truthful. For some of you, what you may be starting out as a new course of learning or education. Maybe some of you are going back to school too of some kind. You may be excited about that. And the King of Swords would represent a fairly mature person in chronological age. Or it doesn't have to be in chronological age, but it often is when they show up as kings and queens. So it could be, as an adult, you could be going back to school or starting over in some way. You might even be starting a new career path. But there's such a strong connection to home and family there as well. For others of you, this could represent another air sign that might be significant in your life in the month of April. For those of you having a child, it could be your partner, etc. Showing up as a male, but in general reading, this could be male or female. Now, it's clarified with the Eight of Wands, which is typically the card of communication. And in this day and age, communication can take a lot of different forms. This could be face-to-face, but it typically represents news and messages like text, phone, email, mail, etc. Powerful, positive communications going back and forth. So as advice, this combination of cards together, the King of Swords and the Eight of Wands, would be that it looks like you end March and start April in this lovely celebratory, almost giddy sort of energy. You're feeling like young, like a child again, young, enthusiastic about whatever it is you're going into or this is about. Again, it's a general reading, which is kind of tricky because there's so many of you watching. The details and specifics in the area of your life this resonates in. It's always going to vary, but the energy is the same. And it's kind of like in the second week or so, now you're kind of knuckling down and communicating about it. You're talking about it. You're hashing out the details. You're taking care of business, getting the details taken care of, maybe laying the groundwork for the work that you have to do in this new beginning or what it's going to require of you, regardless of what it actually is. Looks like you're just functioning as who you are. You're being a real grown-up, kind of moving forward. As advice, it would be to make sure that all of your communications are coming from this energy of the King of Swords, straight, direct, to the point, not sugar-coated, not brutal, of course, but just very clear and concise. Don't make any major decisions based on emotional impulses, because there could be a chance of that happening because you already have all these lovely, wonderful emotions running high in the first week or so. Just make sure that you have a very balanced approach with your communication and the decisions you make. So around the third week or so, we have the Chariot and the Page of Pentacles. So the Chariot is a major arcana card. You actually have three. So opportunity for a fairly significant month. The Chariot is a major arcana card, so divine, profound energies. This is a card of success, which comes from being very focused on your goals, ambitious, driven almost. This is a card that speaks of success or winning, which comes from sheer determination, perseverance, not accepting any kind of defeat, not allowing anything to get in your way, distract you, slow you down, make you lose momentum, knowing exactly where you're going, exactly how you're going to get there, pulling together all the resources you need. It's like, here's my goal, and I'm starting, and I'm not going to stop until I reach my goal. Perseverance, determination, focus on your goals. Very successful there. Now, it's clarified by the Page of Pentacles. So here we have another page. So there's a lot of new beginning, like young energy, which can always be accompanied by a little bit of uncertainty and doubt as well. Student and apprenticeship energy. You know, you're starting on a new path, you're excited, but you're a little scared, maybe a little intimidated, and sometimes overwhelmed as well. The Chariot's clarified by the Page of Pentacles. So here we have another page. This is the Page of Pentacles. So Pentacles is earth energy. So, and in the tarot, the energy of Pentacles usually manifests in the earthly, practical parts of our life, or in emotions and relationships. It can represent practical or tangible results of the effort we put into something. Pentacles can represent tangible things that we see, touch, feel, like money, finance, property, job, resources, etc. Tangible things, earthly things. The Page of Pentacles energetically can represent being at the beginning of something, but just beginning to have your eyes open to how things actually really work. For example, a good analogy for the Page of Pentacles would be the person that leaves home for the first time. You know, they've gone through high school and maybe college, and maybe they've, you know, lived at home or maybe lived in a dorm or something, but they've still been very connected or dependent on the home, parents, you know, but they're out in the world now, they're in their first job, and they're kind of just starting to have their eyes open to how it really works, you know, that 9-to-5 job or whatever it is that they're doing, and paying your, you know, your rent or your mortgage, and, you know, just kind of how the world works, 401ks and all of that stuff. So just having your eyes open, just beginning to come to a deeper understanding and awareness of how something actually works, how things come together and work in a practical, tangible way. So in order to achieve the success, what it's really going to take. So far, Gemini, it looks like, you know, you've got this culmination thing, this new beginning, you're really excited, you're really feeling maybe, and in all this lovely excitement, you may be looking only at the positives and maybe not being as practical minded as you could. The advice is to be maybe more practical, grounded, pay attention to detail, make sure your communication is very direct. If you're getting involved in something, make sure you know every aspect of what you're getting involved with and before you agree to it, like for a job or a new project or an investment of some kind. And if it's something which, there's still such a connection of home and family too, that, you know, it could be also that, you know, if it's starting your first home, or buying or selling your first home, or having, you know, another child or your first child or something that falls under that umbrella. It looks like around the 3rd week or so, in order to, you have a goal set in mind, but perhaps you're just now kind of, maybe some of that initial giddiness or excitement is settling, and now you're kind of thinking, okay, so how is it really going to work? How is this really going to come together? How am I really going to manage all of this and achieve my goals and directions? How am I going to sustain this path that I've chosen to be on? And it looks like maybe at or towards the end of the month, maybe actually more in the last half of the month, it may prompt some fears and doubts and insecurities that come up. You have a very powerful combination at or towards the end of April of death, transformation, as I like to call it, because people see the word death and they happen to go, ugh. Transformation, something coming to a complete and a major chapter of your life closing, so a new one can begin. The ground completely being cleared out so you can plant and manifest something totally new. And often, not always, but often what death represents the ending of is usually something that's been with us for quite some time. This could be a living situation, a relationship, a job, a belief system, something that's been there for quite a while, something associated with the past. So the clearing out of that, or a complete and total transformation of it. And it's clarified by strength, which is a card. This is this kind of strength that the Strength card refers to. It's the kind of strength that comes from facing what you're afraid of, facing your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, your weak areas, and which takes a great deal of strength, courage, humility. Humility meaning having the courage to look at exactly who we are and who we're not, maybe the areas that we need to improve in, or places that we can make better decisions, the things that we're afraid of, the things that we're doubtful or insecure about, particularly in connection with ourselves. It takes a great deal of strength and courage to do that, and it is also what we gain a great deal of by going through this process and emerging on this other side, like this woman has, with our head up, striding forward courageously into our future. I won't say fearlessly, because the new always usually has some accompaniment of fear. Courage is born of fear. Fear is the mother or father of courage. Fear comes first so that we have something to be courageous about. So by going through this process of facing these things, wrestling with our demons, taming this excuse me, this savage beast, this wild beast, this lion, is which she has so successfully and gently tamed, is symbolic for her fears and doubts and insecurities and weaknesses. She's had the courage to face that, and so she's tamed it. She's made changes. She's come to accept and embrace who she is after that, through that process, and now she has additional strength and courage, and her head is up. She is in motion. She is moving forward into her future. So excuse me, it's like, oh, there's this thing is ending and I'm starting this new thing, and this new thing is happening, and it's wonderful, and I'm happy, and it's going to be so wonderful, and you're talking about it, and you're getting the details down, and then all of a sudden maybe, oh, so the reality of this, and now I'm afraid, and I have doubts and fears and insecurities. But you face those, and the advice, very strong advice, both major arcana cards at the end of the month, is to face whatever fears, doubts, insecurities you have about whatever this new thing is, whatever this wonderful new beginning, this, whatever area of your life it's manifesting in, Gemini. Whatever fears, doubts, insecurities you have, whatever aspects that you need to change, face those. Walk into what you're afraid of. What you're afraid of looking at, what you're afraid of you might have to change. Have the courage to walk into those. The repercussions and what you gain from that is invaluable and will serve you for the rest of your life. Don't allow fears and doubts and insecurities to stop your progress, to stop your goals, to make you shift or change. Have the strength and courage to face those. I mean, that's great advice for all areas of our life. It will serve you well, I promise you. So Gemini, that pretty much wraps up your April 2018 general reading. I hope you have enjoyed it. Again, if any of you are interested in a more personal, tailored just for you personal reading, and you'd like more information, my contact details, you can find those attached to the description of all the videos I post, and also by going to my YouTube channel's homepage, clicking on the About button. You can email me directly at maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be most happy to work with you and set up a personal reading with you, live or recorded. I can usually fit people in within a couple of weeks, and since I have a little extra downtime now, maybe a little bit sooner, but almost always within a couple of weeks or so. For fast answers to the really easy, simple, quick questions, you can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo. Under Irish Gypsy, and all that's also with my contact details. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the April 2018 mid-month readings, and until then, Gemini, as always, know that I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. Take care, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.